My name is Stephen Malance, and this is going to be another input from Chelantic Sciences. So, esoteric free will and drainage of God source energy. When we get our individuation distorted through the losing of our path and the incarnations as we human beings have undergone and lost through time, we get caught, snared in, misled by just simple decisions, the choice of good or bad and the power of A or B. But the power of creation within the boundaries of the seat of consciousness, within the individual identities in time, have the ability to refuse or accept the impulses for evolution as set forth by the seat of consciousness. So that's basically through free will. New creations can be experienced by the individual, which adds to the exposing of the whole. But free will creates a dilemma for identity in time due to that experience in that dimensionalized consciousness. So the individual frequently makes choices that results in a distortion of its scalar wave patterns. That's something we'll pick up on here next. Through which is connected to the seed of consciousness. So distortion through the individual fire letter design, which is something that manifests through the morphinogenic field and also within the genetic code of the individuated physical body. So henceforth, it disables their natural ability to reintegrate with the fire letter design. So that's within the patterns of the original seed of consciousness. So when this occurs, literal energetic breaks, like they start to appear within the multidimensional identity structure, start corrupting the seed of consciousness. Eventually severing that which tethers that individual identity to the seed of consciousness within the God mind. Simplified. If an identity is severed from its original seed of consciousness, that identity can no longer draw life force substance to itself from the direct God source. This can be done through the individual identity's lost connection to the seed of consciousness. So having stated previously, the concept describes whom ever turns away from the spiritual connection, then they knowingly and naturally drain the energy, basically differently from those who are around them. So the term I'm going to use here today, this is what I'm about to read to you. I call them energy vampires. So even on the grandest of days, if you are like myself, an empath, you feel drained, on edge, overstimulated, overwhelmed from basically these people, and basically even becoming suffering from empathetic overwhelming through these people who have energetically fed off of our emotions. So the more the dramatic the person, the more feeding or basically joy or reboosting that they get from you. So the worse it affects us empaths. So we have to set and we have to have strong boundaries. So, and basically in that sense, we have to repel and segregate away from them constantly, getting close to you faster within their energy fix. They need it. So these energy vampires, they work through email, Zoom, social media, phone calls, etc. It's not just face to face. So before I fill in the next few hundred pages with some profound truth and enlightened ascension techniques, breath work, astral projection, out-of-body experience, etc., let's start from the basics. So science, biology, chemistry, physics, quantum entanglement, theorems, all of them basically using the words, the two biggest defining properties of clashing head-to-head against the other's driving force since vanity entered the whole world and all of the thousands and thousands of eons ago, the culmination of spirit and science. So that's basically what my book is about. So within the duration of writing this manuscript, I've been soaking in pools of hidden truths, basically that kept from humanity and a thought and a soul of activating rabbit holes just as much as disinformation as there is real information. But basically people with evil, monopolizing, devilish dissemination of clinging to the narrative of control, greed, generations of Rothschilds and globalists, you will soon find out just how deep and far and how friggin' gone this world has been undersowed by sin. I will be providing insightful, thought-provoking, challenging, enigmatic, concise, mathematical, spiritually charged, and guided practices in chakra balancing, ascending to the higher dimensions within the guided steps of our astral projection, our outer body experiences, and the breath work to become that what we must become, open and awake. So our malpractice sinister of the re-energy past. So we have to learn to emerge and overcome sufficiently with acceptance of seeing fossil fuels and the wreckage of that past hundreds of years, and now it's a $150 trillion a year industry. Rise up and have a voice. For all of us waking up, be advised that exposés of exhuming of our precursor of baseline humans over time have had our supernatural abilities hacked and taken from us, systematically planned and approached by. So basically the 1% to keep the 99% disinformed, sick, low-level densities from the very shocking magnitude of mass population control from the elitists bastardizing and besmirching every statistic, and lying so much that we have allowed them to. So knowing something is wrong and doing nothing about it is much worse than the few and proud, whilst we still are being charged for the whilst we still are being charged to change. So basically, put yourself into this situation here. This is called enlightened change, and I'll leave it here. So enlightened change becomes the only method of our people's current chance at survival. So to start with ego. So to live through unconditional love for all things is one. Another is inward reflection and meditation. So basically, if we can try to produce influence of change looking through honest eyes and open hearts, the next 10 years we must collectively and consciously understand that the sheer vastness of space is a unified field connecting all living things. We've lost our time, our timidness, and allowing a knowingly corrupt conditional overthrow of our spiritual ascension, disinformation campaigns, right to ask and allow false prophets to peddle hate, humane socio-economical torture and treachery, the need/to know on a broken banking and basically a tax terminator of lies officially under the thumb of wrong, and settling and believing that this fossil fuel influence on media doesn't have some kind of dictatorship, which basically is all cover-ups and silence. And basically the free energy for life has basically been there forever. We've always had it. You have to start learning to open up your eyes and look inside.